gentlemen, the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. I'm Steve Kim, joined by our Mr. May, Mario Lopez.
Hey, thank you very much, Kimster. Also, our Kawhi Leonard on the ones and twos.
Or our Steph Curry.
Okay.
Clutch.
These are compliments right here.
Yeah, these are they're a little too high a compliment.
Yeah.
Buffalo Knuckles.
Yeah, and we're not calling him our Aisha Curry. A little bit more on that later. Boy,
Spilling the tea.
talking about being ungrateful. But anyway, round number 1, it was the PBC on Fox, and what a fight we had. And we have a new IBF/WBA junior middleweight champion of the world. It's J-Rock from Philly. Julian Williams taking Jarrett Hurd in his hometown to the back of the woodshed. Listen, I thought Julian Williams with his technical skill would be in this fight for 6, 7, 8 rounds. I thought he'd beat him down the middle. I thought his boxing acumen would keep him in the fight. I believe in the late rounds, though, we'd have the thundering Hurd. Never happened. Never happened.
Kimster, is it too bold of a statement to say fight of the year?
One of them. It'll be invited to the banquet.
It's on the list.
It'll be on the list.
It's on the list. I love that fight. I love inside fighting. That's my kind of fight. I thought I was seeing a couple of paisanos in there, man. A couple of Mexicanos get down. And I loved that they went for it just right from the get. We know who Hurd is, and we know he's a slow starter, and we know he loves to impose his will, fight on the inside where he's very effective, and he was effective for a while here too, with his body shots, and usually he's the bigger, stronger guy in there. But man, Williams came to fight. Yes, he does have great boxing skills, but he showed some of that Philly toughness and grit, and the way he was throwing those quick combos with those hooks, and when he dropped them in, what was it, the second
round.
Woo! I said, oh my God, he's coming for real with those top of the shots right on the temple. And Hurd went down. I said, man, he's gonna have to show me something. Now, granted, to his credit, he came back, fought himself into the fight a little bit, but gosh, just didn't have enough to kick it into that other gear. He always eats too many punches, like I thought he just in general, but because he is so tough. And he does have that sort of Margarito-esque style, which I love. But, man, move that head once in a while. And I didn't think he utilized his jab as much. And it's like the clock ran out on him, and he was suffering way too much damage. How he was able to stand up those shots, stand up to those shots, because Williams was throwing crisp, hard combos. And my man came in shaped, ripped, and really focused and ready to win. So credit to him. And I was a big Hurd fan, or I am a big Hurd fan.
Still am.
Still am. Absolutely. Still am. And like I said, a short list for fight of the year. But now I'm an even bigger Williams fan because he showed a lot of heart. Breaking my heart every time they would cut away and go to Mama Hurd and show her in the audience right there. But hey, he can hold his head up high. He fought valiantly. Just wasn't enough. I'm curious to see if, and I know it's a young career, but if his style, a little too much tread on those tires to keep up on this pace. Because assuming there is a rematch, which a lot of people are clamoring for, I don't know if it could be that much different unless serious changes are made in the camp.
Yeah, your scores 116, 111, 115, 112 twice. Mario, I thought outside of round 3, 6, and 7, I thought the scores were actually a tad generous for Jarrett Hurd.
It could have
been as much as 10-2. The closest in my book is 8-4. And Jarrett Hurd, you talk about the physical erosion, not just the style. Also, he takes off a ton of weight.
Right, he's
that
a big dude.
Prematurely ages a fighter. And I'll have to be honest with you, and we'll talk about the interview with Stephen Edwards, who is the manager-trainer of J-Rock, in a few minutes. But he said to me, Steve, he might be taller, he might be bigger, but we were stronger. And for this particular fight, Julian Williams did some real strength and conditioning with Tony Brady.
And it showed.
And from the core to his legs, he was stout, and he kept beating Hurd inside the pocket, and he stayed beating him to the punch inside the pocket.
Those combos looked really crisp
Yeah.
and had pop all the way until the end. We know Hurd's a tough guy, and I don't know if it's because he drains himself so much, but his hands are heavy, but they never look crisp to me, and they never look like they have that pop. And I don't know if it is because of the weight, but it was not at the same level of Williams. Williams was pretty impressive that night.
Putting together this game plan in the corner is the man that I mentioned a moment ago, Stephen Breadman Edwards, who has known Julian Williams since the very beginning. This is what he had to say about the victory over Hurd and the rebuilding that they went through after Jermell Charlo. Stephen, first of all, congratulations on the victory. Julian Williams dominating Jarrett Hurd. Let's go back to December. You guys fought on the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder undercard. You guys fought saw Jarrett Hurd fight Jason Wellborn on that night. I remember when I saw you guys in the tunnel or the bowels of the arena at the Staples Center, Julian said to me, he goes, Steve, just watch. I'm going to beat this guy. Just wait. Why were you guys so confident in that?
Because we never stopped doubting Julian despite the Charlo loss. And, you know, I kind of, I'm sorry, I dropped my phone. I kind of view, like, Jarrett Hurd is a really, really good fighter, Steve, but anybody that gets hit that easy and loses that many rounds against a sharp fighter like Julian, you know, you got confidence going into the fight. So we were just very confident, you know. I believe Jarrett Hurd's a beast, and he's one of the top 10 or 15 pound-for-pound guys in the world, and he was really making the rise. But, you know, I think that Julian's right there also. I think that the Charlo loss got a little overstated in people's mind. Mm-hmm. I think they did. They went a little bit overboard as far as that fight. And I feel like that if it wasn't for that fight, that everybody would have viewed Julian and Jarrett as pretty much a pick-em, even money fight. But because of that fight, Julian was a 7-1 underdog, which was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So we were just confident.
When you look at the fight technically, it's interesting. A lot of people didn't realize that if you guys went into the belly of the beast and stood inside the pocket, the thing that I noticed is Julian kept beating Jarrett to the punch. Was that the foundation of that game plan, to sit right inside there and beat him to the punch all night long?
It was one of them, Steve. It was one of them. Julian is a guy that it's kind of really hard to describe his style, because sometimes he'll box and he'll move and play like the boxer-puncher role, and then there's times where he can sit in the pocket and kind of play the inside technician role, and it was one of them. But Jarrett has long arms, and you know, sometimes, you know, reach can go against you because you don't get your arms back in place defensively all the time. You know, so once, you know, a lot of guys like with long arms like that, they need extension on their punches. And we've never viewed Jarrett as a great inside fighter. We viewed him as a guy who was strong and walked you down. And sometimes that's confused with being a great inside fighter, if you understand what I'm saying. He comes forward and he walks you down, but he's not, it's like you don't see Marco Antonio Barrera, James Toney kind of craft on the inside. So we kind of let people think that, you know, we had to run from him, but Julian Williams don't got to run from nobody, Steve. You know what I'm saying? He just don't. He's a well-rounded fighter. He got, he's a better puncher than people realize. Jarrett Hurd was supposed to have an iron chin. Jarrett was feeling those punches Saturday night. And, you know, a lot of times a guy that's a little bigger and a little longer, if you don't let them get extension on their punches, you beat them back to their body with their punches, if you understand what I'm saying. He's long and he's gangly. So defensively, he didn't have time to bring his punches back. And if you notice, Julian was just destroying them in there, you know. And once we got in there, it was up to Jarrett and his team to make the adjustment.
There is a rematch clause. In your view, I know a decision has not been made or announced by the other side because it is held by Jarrett Hurd, who came into the fight as the unified champion. Do you think that they will exercise that option?
Yeah, I do. I think that the kid has a lot of heart. I think that's his first loss. You know, you want to get it back. And I think he's going to want to fight Julian again.
Let's go back to that night, December of 2016, a disappointing loss to Jermell Charlo. And I remember we were all in the hotel room, and I think we were with Victor Conte. And there was Julian in there with his brother, you, myself, and it felt like more than just a loss. I remember the disappointment of that night. I mean, it was palpable because no one expected it, not to that degree or the way it happened. Reflect on that night and then the rebuilding of Julian as a fighter, rebuilding his confidence and also just physically getting back to this point. What's that been like?
You know, I love every minute of it, Steve, because sometimes you got to go through things like that to appreciate things like this. Mm-hmm. And we wouldn't have been able to handle this moment unless we went through that moment. At the time we were going through it, we didn't know it. But I never lost faith in him, and he didn't lose faith in himself. And I told him it was going to be hard. You got to deal with social media. You're going to have to deal with the boxing media saying different things. Fights are going to be tougher because now, fighters are going to fight you with more hope because you don't look like this invincible beast anymore. I said, but you built for this, man, and we'll be fine. And it was a great ride. It was a ride that was on an underground train. We had to take some fights for short money, but we was with it, Steve. We didn't complain. There's a lot of things that was going against us in that fight, and we just sucked it up, and we knew we would get back to this moment. And then we get a second title shot against a guy who's more highly esteemed than Charlo was going into our first title shot, because our first title shot was an even money fight. Mm-hmm. So this fight, we're 7-1 underdog, and we're fighting him in our hometown, in his hometown. And, so all the odds, it appeared that it was against us. But I'm telling you, Steve, Julian is a very resilient kid. Maybe it was some things in the media didn't know about him, but he's used to adversity. And, he responded the way I knew he would. And I even had guys in our own gym tell us we were crazy for taking this fight, and it was a setup and all these things. And why are you fighting him? Why don't you fight Miguel? Why don't you fight Harrison? You don't understand the business of boxing. This was the opportunity that we got. And it was a second title shot. How do you turn that down at 29 years old? Mm-hmm. And, it's been a great ride, Steve. You know what I mean? It really has. Maybe he wasn't meant to win the title on that night. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I can say. Maybe this made him a better fighter. Sometimes a loss makes you a better fighter. A lot of weak-minded fighters lose and they hide and they disappear and they need to take 2 years off and all that kind of nonsense. We was ready to get back in the ring within 3 or 4 months. It was a big shot, and we got up, and fight was over, and you move on. Mm-hmm. So we never lost confidence in him, despite what other people tried to. I think people were just cruel. They wanted the kid to go commit suicide because he lost the fight. You know what I mean? And we wasn't going to do that. It was like, all right, he got hit with a big shot. And this fight, Steve, I'm telling you, the only thing I asked for was 3 months worth of a lot of testing. Mm-hmm. They took everything. Money, location, date, whatever they wanted to do, they had it. Gloves, I could care less. Anything they wanted, they could have. Ring size, it was an 18-foot ring. We didn't care about anything. All I said was, give this kid 3 months worth of a lot of testing. That's all I want. And I'm not implying anything wrong with Jarrett Hurd, but I didn't want to take another fight like that without any type of advanced, stringent testing. Mm-hmm. And they gave it to us. Props to Team Hurd. It wasn't a long hold-up. Within maybe 7 to 10 days, both sides signed a Nevada agreement, and I just knew what I knew, Steve. I just knew it. I just knew my guy was going to be okay.
Mario, I remember that night, December of 2016. It was Fight On, Galen Center, USC, mm-hmm. and it was a shocking result. Not because Charlo won, because of the way he won. Right. Knocked him out in 5 rounds. And I remember being in the hotel suite of the Fight Hotel of Victor Conte, who works with Julian Williams. And being in that room, it was like a funeral because it was supposed to be the coronation, and it ended up being a Ned Stark's beheading. And you felt, as you saw Julian Williams in the next couple of fights, he didn't blow people away. You said to yourself, ooh, is he not what we thought he was? Will he ever regain that mojo? He got the mojo.
He showed his character.
Yeah, he did.
He showed his character, and he showed what he's really made of, because that was a tough task.
Yeah.
And a tall order he had in front of him with undefeated Jarrett Hurd.
On his backyard.
Yes.
That's even more.
Exactly. But he went in there and showed what he's really made of. All the more credit why you got to tip your hat to him. And again, both fighters, and obviously still a big fan of Hurd. Let me ask you this, because I immediately thought of the rematch, and I'm like, wow, I don't know if at this weight the result would be that much different.
Don't disagree, because, look, someone on Twitter named Easy Ed from Britain, very sharp guy, said, Steve, if Jarrett Hurd is the Black Margarito, as we've described him, Julian Williams was Philadelphia Shane Mosley. That, again, distance and spacing. Jarrett Hurd, it's interesting. When I first saw Jarrett Hurd in 2015, he came out of nowhere on a special edition of Showbox against Frank Galarza. He was not supposed to win, and he actually was slipping and rolling, and there was some slickness to him, even when he fought Molina. And I'm like, wow, this guy has some James Toney-esque moves, but I'm getting the sense that in recent fights, Jarrett Hurd is now just depending on his size and his engine and just to wear people out, right. And that slickness is kind of eroded. And you're right, from a stylistic standpoint, the fact that Julian Williams now has that confidence that, hey, I can not only take you for 36 minutes, but I'm the stronger guy because I'm inside that pocket and I'm smothering you and then beating you to the punch.
Well, that's the thing.
What changes?
You would think that Williams had the greater advantage by staying for the outside.
No.
But he was beating him in his own game.
Right.
That's what's very discouraging looking into the future.
And you heard what Breadman said, that, look, these long fighters that like to fight inside the pocket, the problem is with their long, gangly arms, their hands and arms come back really slow defensively. Right. So when you punch with them, if you punch straight, which the way I thought Julian Williams would, he consistently beat him to the punch. Yes. So, again, Julian Williams now has the IBF and WBA titles, and on late June, you're going to have the rematch between Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison. One thing I loved about what Williams and Breadman are doing, they're taking a stand, and to the credit of Jarrett Hurd, they said, listen, we'll give you the venue. You have it in your own backyard. We'll give you most of the money. Pick whatever date you want. We need 3 months worth of VADA testing. And Hurd said, okay. Breadman said in our interview and in private discussions, Julian Williams, from now on, if you want to fight us, you better be in that VADA program for a full 3 months. All we want is a level playing field. We need more fighters of this ilk to take that stand, in my view.
Fair enough.
Moving on, it was a busy night in boxing. Saturday Night Fever in Tucson, Arizona. I was here ringside from the convention center, and it was a lot more repeat and no revenge. And the WBC 130-pound titleist Miguel Berchelt improves to 36-1, stopping Francisco Vargas in 6 rounds. And I want to give a tip of the cap to a man I respect. Joel Diaz, after 6 rounds, understood one thing. This ain't getting any better. This is becoming an avalanche. Let's stop it. Francisco Vargas was game, but he was simply outgunned again.
He was coming off of, what, a year layoff?
He's had a fight or two, but you're right.
Right.
A lot of wear and tear, though.
A lot of wear. That's exactly where I was going. A lot of wear and tear. And to be put right in front of this buzzsaw, which is Berchelt, who really lets his hands go, and he throws his combos from weird angles.
Yeah,
I've never. It's weird, like these weird hooks, like the 3-4 punch hooks, which are coming at you at these sort of over the top sort of angles, but they're really, really effective. He comes in very well prepared, in great shape. He's a tough son of a bitch, and he's hitting you with these hooks, these crazy combos, and he is a tough out. At 130, man, you kind of got to favor him against anybody at that weight class because he's one of those nasty guys that's going to be in there, and you better bring. Look at Vargas after he looked like he fell out. He looked like road rash on his face, like he fell off a motorcycle after that fight, and he was still coming. And maybe he was landing here and there, but I still don't like how Berchelt does stand up with his chin a little exposed, but he makes up for it because he's got a lot of pop on those punches, and he overwhelms you with his combos.
He's an avalanche.
He's an avalanche.
He really is an avalanche of leather.
And he ends up breaking you down with that pressure. So he's a guy that I think could unify all those belts.
I spoke to Joel Diaz in the fight hotel before the fight and said, Steve, the key is, and we're going to tell Francisco, we want you boxing the first 3-4 rounds. Get to rounds 4 and 5 relatively clean. I thought he boxed okay for the first 2 minutes. But once it became a firefight in the last minute of round 1, I said too soon.
Yeah, well, I don't think Berchelt gave him a choice.
No, he didn't. You're right.
That's the thing.
And you look at Vargas several years ago when he was at his peak, had that real war with that Japanese fighter on the Canelo Cotto undercard.
Fight of the year. Fight of the year. Two
then
fights of the year.
It was Orlando Salido right after that.
Oh, man.
So when I look at Francisco Vargas, and you talked about the way his face just falls apart, remember the end of Blues Brothers? When
like
Jake and Elwood goes all the way to the end of the Chicago.
That's my body right now.
Yeah, and then they want to get, and they got to send in that check for the nun, and the car just, that's Francisco Vargas.
Exactly.
He just kind of fell apart. A lot of hard miles. Miguel Berchelt, my understanding is, May 25th, as the WBO 130-pound title will be contested by the judge, Masayuki Ito and Jamel Herring. They're also with Top Rank. Miguel Berchelt is with Zanfer, which co-promotes him with Top Rank. So there is a possibility of a unification at 130. But looking down the line, Berchelt told me last week, hey, after I'm done at 130, I want Lomachenko. Now, look, do I think Lomachenko would be a big favorite? Do I think it'd be a big promotion at the Forum? Absolutely. You know what? Berchelt early on, I think, would be riddled by Lomachenko. There's no doubt about it. The angles, the foot speed, all that stuff. But the volume of punches and the size, I'm interested. I like that matchup.
I'll tell you one thing. I, too, obviously highly favor Lomachenko because he is special. he'll know he's been in a fight.
Yes.
Though. He'll know he's been in a fight.
Yes.
Regardless. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
And the one thing you cannot do with Lomachenko is just throw 1 or 2 punches.
No.
Because he'll evade them.
Exactly.
But this guy, like you said, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Weird angles, too.
Yes.
Weird angles, yeah.
And Mario, Emmanuel Navarrete, it's obvious to me he just has the number of Isaac Dogbe, who was stopped in 12. I thought this fight should have been probably halted by the father and the trainer of Dogbe in the 9th round. But again, look, I think Isaac Dogbe mentally and physically was better prepared. But again, 5'7" against 5'2", and he's a lot like Ray Vargas Navarrete. He's one of these tall guys. A stiff wind does not blow them back. They're tough.
He's all
Very
wrong for
tough.
us, baby.
Yeah.
He was all wrong for us. And it was part 2, and essentially 13 round and on. And it was more of the same. So, yeah, sometimes it's just a certain styles or a guy's got your number. I don't necessarily know if he's going backwards or not because I like the kid, like to see him stick around, but that was definitely not his night.
Yeah, now I'm not so sure Isaac Dogbe at 5'2". He says, well, I'm going to move up in weight. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, boy. Those are bigger guys that could really hit at 126, but good luck to both men. Emmanuel Navarrete is now being co-promoted by Top Rank, is my understanding. Mario, the big news on Saturday, and this is very sad, and it really spread this news. It became viral. It just shows you how beloved this gentleman was. Harold Lederman, the longtime judge at HBO and a championship-level judge for about 35, 40 years, passed away at the age of 79 on Saturday after a bout with cancer. I can honestly say this. He was the first big name in boxing that I ever linked up with. And the way I would describe him is Will Rogers. There was never a man he didn't like and vice versa.
I love that guy. He was one of the big personalities that I first met as well.
Characters.
Such a character. Okay, Jim, I got it. 8 rounds to 4 coming in. Oh, give me your Letterman.
Jim, let me tell you.
You make him sound like a leprechaun. We'll let the people decide.
All
right there. Jim, I'll tell you.
Let me be the Caliendo here, okay?
He always... Oh, come on, I got to keep you honest. He always sounded like he was reporting from a war bunker. and there's bombs. Yeah. Well, it's 4 rounds and I've got it 115 to 1. And his voice, and his energy was just so contagious, and he was just that, a character. And by the way, a damn good judge. More times than not, I agreed with him on most of the fights. I remember when he infamously had Castillo beating Mayweather.
Great card.
Way back.
Great card.
By the way, agreed with him on the exact.
116, 111.
Agreed with him. And he called many, many fights that, and I loved when the broadcasting crew didn't agree with him. He would still hold his own. He wouldn't back, and that's exactly how he. And if anybody knew it was him, because he literally saw hundreds of championship fights, but just everything you would want in a fellow employee and just a friend, just the nice guy, knew his job, was so cool with all those people. Pharmacist by trade.
Yep.
Right? The whole family was pharmacists.
And Julie Lederman, his daughter, is a world-class judge. My first episode with Harold Lederman, it was way back in 1996. I'm a very young guy on the beat. Right. And I see Harold Lederman at a hotel lobby waiting for a car, and I'm nervous. I'm like, wow, that guy's at HBO. It's Harold Lederman. Nervously come up to him because I was doing a radio show at the time called The Next Round on 830 or 870 KIEV in Burbank, California. The two guys that did the show alongside me, my host was Tim Abrams. The executive producer was a guy by the name of Oscar Valdez. They bought the airtime. They wanted to do a boxing show. And I got paid $250 a show. And since Oscar owned vending machines, I had 25 rolls of quarters each week. That was my pay. That's how I got paid.
Did you hit up arcades?
Yeah, and I had to go to various liquor stores to get it in like dollar bills.
Straight to the arcade.
Yeah, that's the old school. So anyway, our show ran every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and didn't end till 12:30 a.m. Sunday. So it's hard to get any guests. So and we're nobody, okay? So I come up to Harold and I say, hey, Mr. Lederman, big fan of yours. There's a business card. Could not have been a nicer gentleman. And I said, look, if you're ever in town for a fight, if you want to come in studio, and like I'm just expecting him to blow me. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. So when September 14th of 1996, he works the last HBO card ever at the Forum for Forum Boxing. Marco Antonio Barrera stops Jesse El Cuervo Magana in 10 rounds. We took him from the Forum to our studio in Burbank, right off the 134.
That's far, by the way.
Yeah, and he did the show gladly.
Look at
Couple of times, and it was like a big thing. He's the first real big name that I had a relationship with. So what I would do for Harold, since he lived in New York, this is before the age of the internet, Al Gore hadn't invented it yet, he said, Stevie, send me clips. And what that meant was any newspaper articles from the LA Times or LA Daily News or even on the internet, which was still kind of new, said, Steve, anything that related to boxing, can you mail them to me? So I used to have a stack full of
Mail them, dude.
Yeah. Well, Mario,
you'd spend your $250 on stamps.
No, here's the thing. I have a stack of stories from like various publications, and I'd cut them out, sometimes tape them or paper clip them together. And I used to buy. You go to the post office, you could buy those big giant manila envelopes for like $3.
Right. I remember.
And by the time I stuffed everything through, it was like a sack.
Yeah.
And so it cost about $8 to do first class, and he lives in Orangeburg, New York. And so I'd send them about 3-4 times a year.
That's funny.
You would have thought it was Christmas. He would be the most grateful guy. And guess what? Turns out he kept every single one of them.
Look at that.
Because HBO did a feature on his house. He had media kits from 30 years ago.
By Steve Kidd.
And also, no one loved boxing more than Harold. That if HBO had a show at the Staples Center by Golden Boy, if there was a show at Quiet Canyon in Montebello or Thompson Boxing in Ontario, he would go. From the first bout to the last.
No, he's what you call the diehard. As said by the rules of the Association of Boxing.
Yeah.
Jim.
And once you say, we watch a lot of boxing, Mario, a lot of guys do that role of the judge. I don't think anyone has the delivery, the cadence, or the rhythm of Harold Lederman. He's the best I've ever heard do it.
One of a kind, and I agree. That he's just rest in peace.
Yeah, and talk about the impact that he had as we move on. Mm-hmm. The 2 shows this past weekend, PBC on Fox and on ESPN, they did a ceremonial 10-count for him.
That's awesome.
That's how impactful he was. So rest in peace to the judge and the conscience, I used to call him, of HBO, Harold Lederman. Mario, set your DVR, and you're going to be in the zone. There's a lot going on. I think you're going to be in Chicago, but I'll be texting you the reminders. Saturday night, it's showtime from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Heavyweight titles on the line, the WBC belt. Deontay Wilder takes on Dominic Breazeale. Mario, I'll go on the record. I like DBZ, a friendly guy, but you know what? I'll be stunned if this fight reaches round 4. Lay it right out there.
Yeah, this is a showcase. This is, look, this is the reason you have a DAZN, and you're glad you don't have to pay pay-per-view.
Right.
For
well, this is on Showtime, though. Remember that.
No, but I'm saying this would be a reason you would have a DAZN, so you don't have to pay a pay-per-view for that. So you are a subscriber for Showtime, so I guess it's not pay-per-view, so it's sort of along the same lines. Hopefully, again, these are the sort of fights that just keep you busy, so there's bigger ones down the line.
Yeah, look, Deontay Wilder could have gone to the Zone. He could have gone to ESPN for a lot of money. My understanding is, or at least what Shelley Finkel says, the advisor, we're paying him just as much money for these fights. I got to tell look, you got Anthony Joshua fighting, not one of these guys. Deontay Wilder, he's not fighting one of these guys. Yeah. And then you have Tyson Fury not fighting one of these guys. And you're like, it really is a divided world in the world of boxing. And I think the fans' patience is wearing very, very thin. Also, co-feature, Gary Russell makes his yearly appearance, takes on the aged Kiko Martinez. Here's an interesting stat, Mario.
Wow, he's still fighting?
Since winning the title in 2015 against Johnny Gonzalez, he's fought 1 time every year.
How's he surviving?
Look, he gets paid well, but I get the sense he might be the best featherweight in the world. There's absolutely no evidence.
We wouldn't know because we don't see him fight.
Yeah, and Mario, speaking of the Zone, the World Boxing Super Series semifinals from Scotland. I love this card. I cannot wait to watch it this Saturday afternoon. For the IBF 140-pound title, Ivan the Beast Berchelt takes on the very talented Josh Taylor.
I like this fight.
Winner gets Regis Prograis. And then IBF Bantamweight Championship is on the line. Emmanuel Rodriguez takes on the monster from Japan, Nano Inoue. Winner gets Nonito Donaire. Quality stuff.
Now, that is quality stuff. And I was joking earlier about fights, why you don't want to pay pay-per-view in DAZN. Now, this is one of the bonuses where it does make sense because you're getting a lot of bang for your buck right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nano Inoue, I'm writing something for ESPN. He might be the most dominant fighter in the world. He's already won 3 world championships. There's been like 7 or 8 guys, Mario,
he's a bad little dude,
that have never been knocked out that he stopped. I mean, ice cold. Guys that are very difficult, like Omar Narvaez.
Yeah, tough outs.
And I'm just like, wow, he just blows them apart. He actually might be the best fighter in the world, pound for pound. Wow. But again, he's in the Far East. He's a smaller guy. Doesn't get quite the credit. And Mario, I'm going to make a prediction. Berchelt is tough. Obviously, he's well trained by our good friend Freddie Roach. But I think Josh Taylor has that special sauce. I like him a lot.
I like that kid too.
And it's in Scotland.
Yes,
home,
I know.
Home canvas advantage.
I know, exactly. So I know I would favor him for sure.
And boxing fans, a lot of stuff going on. Quick rundown here. Thursday night on Ring TV from Indio, California, Romero Duno and Manny Robles Jr. co-headline. Then Friday in the morning on ESPN Plus from Belfast, North Ireland, Ryan Burnett headlines a card. And then Saturday on ESPN Plus from jolly old England, BJ Saunders fights for the vacant WBO 168-pound title and a heavyweight battle between the juggernaut Joe Joyce and Alexander Ustinov. Going to news and notes. Mario, mark the calendar. July 20th on Fox pay-per-view from Viva Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao takes on Keith one-time Thurman.
I'm fired up for that.
Love this fight.
I can't believe the legend is still fighting at this level. Every time, if he's able to pull this off, I'm telling you.
Where does this rank among his victories, given the fact now he's on the other side of 40?
Dude,
It's a big one. It's a big feather.
It's a huge one, especially against an undefeated champion. If he's able to pull this
in
off.
his physical prime.
Wow, dude. Does he go on the Mount Rushmore? Wow.
Of all timeness, you mean with Ray Leonard,
with
or Ray Robinson, Henry
well,
Armstrong, Ali?
Wouldn't you say he's had a more impressive? Has
already
he had a more impressive resume than Ray Leonard? You just mentioned Ray Leonard. He's had a more impressive resume
Ray
than Ray
didn't even
Leonard.
have 40 fights.
That's what I'm talking
That's the
about.
thing.
Yes, Ray had the four horsemen, the big names,
Yeah.
with Duran, which we lost to, by the way, in the first one, and then Hearns, of course, then Hagler, which a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
Dude, with the weight, I think if you really dissect and break down his career, an argument could be made. That's my point. So let's see what happens, and then I'll answer that question.
A couple of other things. June 28th in Pachanga on ESPN, Richard Comey takes on Ray Beltran. Mario, I thought Beltran had moved up to 140.
I know.
I don't like this idea. I'll be honest with you. This kind of looks like something.
I know.
Not a fan of this, to be honest with you.
Looks like it'll be a good, fun, action-packed fight.
For as long as it lasts.
And yeah, exactly. That's here in our backyard.
And
too.
also the co-feature, Carlos Adames, who looked very impressive a couple of weeks ago at the Garden, takes on Patrick Day. Then July 13th, ESPN is in Newark for the homecoming of Shakur Stevenson. And then July 27th, Gervonta Davis, the WBA 130-pound champion, he'll be taking on his mandatory against Ricardo Nunez. That'll be in the Baltimore area. And real quickly, this past Friday night on Showbox from Corona, California, the trio of Ruben Villa, Sal Sanchez, and Michael Dutchover, they all racked up victories. I believe that these three are going to make some noise at the world-class level. And Mario, buzzkill alert. Alexander Usyk, bicep injury. He's out of his May 25th bout. And now Devin Haney will co-headline, will be the headliner from the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland.
Wow.
All right, going on to the Ask Mario segment of the show. From Black Tower Radio, in 5 years, who do you see as the primary broadcasters of boxing, as the network wars will most likely have the definitive winners?
It's a good question.
Anyone but Max Kellerman.
Buffalo with the shout out right there.
Well, in all seriousness, though, ESPN, though, made a 7-year commitment to Top Rank and boxing that extends to 2025. So they're going to be there for the long haul. The interesting thing I'm hearing about PBC, Al Heyman may be selling off that company.
I've been
Ari
hearing
Emanuel.
that, but I've been hearing that for the last couple of years. I haven't heard that name, to Ari Emanuel.
Yeah, to that group, Endeavor.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm with them.
Yeah.
That agency. Wait a minute. I like that rumor. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm gonna have to get some intel and come back with that. Let me get back to this question because I want to think about it a little bit more. I don't want to just throw names out.
At the end of the day, look, can all of them survive? Yes, but I think for everyone to thrive, and we talk about the rising tide lifting all vessels or boats. Right. People have to work with each other.
No, they do.
Like we just went through the heavyweight scenario.
You can have a lot of boxing, but you have a lot of crap boxing.
Right.
You have to have some quality.
Quality over quantity. Exactly. Absolutely. Here's one from Ryan Longer. What's your guys' favorite TV channels? Obviously, you know mine. ESPN.
TV channels? Dang. Okay, does Netflix count?
That's what I was thinking. A lot of people would say Netflix.
Well, I got to say NBC then. NBC, keeping it real.
We're both good employees. We're both company
You got the
men.
mouse, I got the peacock.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. I still like HBO and Showtime for their program. I'm not going to lie. I still watch Billions. I watch The Chi, Game of Thrones, stuff like that. So, but you know what? I watch more than anything now? YouTube. There's a lot of interesting stuff on that thing.
Oh, yeah, like my daughter. Really? You just go to YouTube?
A lot of Michael Jordan highlight videos, boxing videos. Look, when I work out, I'm on YouTube for the music video, Stevie B, old 80s freestyle. It's like a jukebox. It really is. And I go and I.
Damn, dude. Tell them about the iHeart playlist we've got coming up.
And then
you know what was that one we talked about? You can do your year you graduated high school, and they make a
Oh.
playlist for all of that.
And I got to catch up on Cobra Kai season 2. Falling behind on that. All right, here's one from RTID. Is Pac Thurman pay-per-view worthy?
If
Yeah, it is.
if
By
price
today's standards?
if priced correctly and by today's standards, yes.
Interesting. Which junior middleweight recent performance was more disappointing? Black Baby Jesus, despite the win. I think Brown Baby Jesus. Jaime Munguia or Swifty Hurd. Any chance their lackluster performances were due to weight loss issues? What would happen if they faced off right now?
That's a great question. Hurd to me looks a little more
Polished?
No. Yes, overall as a fighter, but it looks like there's a little too much. I think he might be a little bit more of a result of weight cut
Yeah.
and a little tread on the tires being worn down for him, as opposed to Munguia. I think just needs a whole new approach and strategy and camp and mindset.
Interesting. You know
You
who?
understand what I'm saying?
You know,
The difference?
well, you're right. And by the way, they agree with you. While he's in Tijuana, the man overlooking his training, and I've heard it's all about the mental approach, about knowing who you are.
Right.
Eric Morales. He's
like
been
that.
broadened out.
Wow.
I've been told that
Wow.
right now Robert Alcazar is still the lead trainer, but my source told me that Eric Morales asked Jaime, who do you think you are? What are you as a... Because first of all, you have to
Exactly.
know your identity
Exactly.
and then fight towards that style.
Right, exactly.
You're
So I
not
think-
Vernon Forrest. You're Margarito 2.0.
Right.
Be that. Moving on to the final Flurry segment of the show. Mario, the question that I asked you on air or a couple minutes ago that you wanted to answer now. Have you been disappointed by this final season of Game of Thrones?
Well, I'm not giving you a quick answer, and I just started with a sigh. So maybe I'm wanting too much. I like a lot about it, but I've been underwhelmed. Okay? The big battle, that was the greatest battle ever. You couldn't see it. Okay? It was poorly
It was
lit.
Battle After Dark on
Yeah,
HBO.
exactly what it was, and you couldn't see it. So that a little bit disappointing. This latest episode when Khaleesi,
Went Scorched Castle policy?
right, she went full Targaryen, and you never go full Targaryen.
Yeah.
That was out of character.
Hell
She's
has
all
no
about
fury like Danny scorned.
Well, you know what? Okay, fine. Then you go and you burn Cersei in that tower once they laid down their swords
And they rang the bell.
and they rang the bells, and she was just burning babies and families. That was and look, that look of Jon Snow. By the way, poor Varys just gets taken out as an advisor. He got told what Tyrion got told, and then Tyrion knew it from Jon Snow. Both those guys snitched on him, and then he gets taken out, and he turns out to be right. Cold as ice. Cold as ice. So just, I think, a little stuff out of character. I don't know, but I mean, listen, I love it. I still love it. And maybe I'm being meticulous and wanting a little bit too much. Mountain can't kill that dude, huh? I mean, took knives to the eye, the sword to the
He needed
chest.
VADA testing. Because you would have thought
He's a zombie. He's already dead.
You would have thought the sword through the heart and body. I'm thinking, man, Hound did it.
And then the sword through the head?
Yeah, and then Hound went out a hero though, because he tackled him into the flame.
Yeah.
Now, he's dead now, right?
Yes, he's got to be dead now. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm glad Cersei and her lover/brother are finally dead under that mountain. But so you look, the people that you wanted to die died. But now with Daenerys and Jon, the whole I would have been fine with her not killing all those babies and kids, and then letting Sansa and all them play it out. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But that dragon did damage.
Whoa! I thought she was going to be handcuffed with the one dragon.
No.
That one dragon with the fleets.
That was Seth Curry in the second half in Houston.
Right?
I mean, she was just lightening up everything.
Steph.
And I was just like, wow,
Ooh,
that's
Freudian
unbelievable.
slip. That means Seth is going to light it up.
Now-
brother.
Come on now. He's a good player, though.
I said this a couple weeks ago, and I know you are an episode behind, so I won't go there. But Billions, I think, has been a quality show that has retained its absolute mojo and
Continues to get better. Great writing, great acting. Damn, Giamatti's such a good actor. and the music, everything. And then ironically,
Wilder.
The last one I saw was when they had when Mafi
Yeah.
was fighting Dollar Bill, and they had Deontay Wilder
They couldn't hurt each other.
and Stipe Miocic from UFC. It was very funny. What's his name called the fight too from ESPN? Your boy.
Oh,
Not, you know what I'm talking about. Rich Eisen.
yeah.
He
NFL Network, right?
Yeah, all right, NFL Network, right. Formerly, but it was very funny. That episode was very funny. It's a really good show.
They've had some great boxing analogies this
They
year.
have Triple G.
Triple G. They mentioned Frazier.
The writers have been our big fans.
Right. A couple of things here about Billions. I don't know what's going to happen if this union between Axe and Giamatti's character, Bobby Rhodes, is going to last. But the relationship with Rhodes and his wife, I think, is actually the best story because there's a lot of tension.
You know what one of my favorite characters is? Rhodes' dad.
Love him. What a scoundrel.
I love him.
By the way, is there anyone?
I love that dude. When he had the little baby with the Indian girl.
Yeah.
I recognize
is that
shit.
my brother? Right. The creepiest character in all of TV is Spiro. What an odd dude.
I love that dude.
He's
That dude's
odd.
funny. He's
He
a funny
is
little dude.
He's not
He
in a
reminds me of
ha-ha way.
Swanson. He reminds me of Swanson.
That's not a compliment. Quick question here, guys. Is James Harden forever just going to be Mr. April? In other words, May or June?
Him and Westbrook.
Woo, that's a good comparison. You're right. They're Mr. Regular Season. They're stat patters.
Gosh.
You have to at least take that to Game 7.
Are they, or are they just playing in an era of when this Steph Curry is sort of like this Michael Jordan kind of era? And other than
No.
that, they would have.
Look, last year,
You really don't
they
think
were
so,
up 3-2 before Chris Paul blew out his hamstring.
That's true.
Okay?
They were. And they didn't even play against Kevin Durant in the last
game.
Yeah, in the last game.
At home. Look,
right. That's what I'm saying. So they had a shot. They had the chance.
Look, if they would have gone to Game 7 and the emotional crowd of the Oracle carries the Warriors to this emotion, I get it.
Right.
But you're coming home
Without KD.
to the Toyota Center, right?
That's true. Without
you
KD.
have to
so-
win that game.
That's true.
You
Is that
have-
more D'Antoni or is that more?
You know, I love Coach Pringles, but there's a history there. By the way, the Pringles, when he has the mustache, he does look like the Pringles logo. That's the reference there. Ayesha Curry, she needs to be a little bit more grateful. She has a very good life. Steph has been very loyal.
I saw
why is she
Kodazai's
yearning?
meme that the split screen between Ayesha Curry and Heinz Ward. That they look the same. That's
Oh.
Kodazai. You didn't see that?
I didn't see
It's
that one.
Kodazai.
She looks half Korean. By the way, Jeannie Buss, I have one request for her as a diehard, lifelong Laker fan. Please sell the team.
Oh, see, now it's blessed.
She's inept.
She just got.
She's not a good owner.
Cold as
She
ice.
is
I
inept.
love me some Jeannie Buss, but
Why?
I wish.
Why?
As a person, I wish she would delegate.
I wish she would sell.
I
We're
wish
going
she would
nowhere.
delegate.
She is not a good owner. Look, it was easy to blame Jim Buss because he was Fredo. Turns out she's female Fredo.
Oh, she's Frida.
Frida. Right, she's Frida Corleone. It's
You
bad.
don't like the Frank Vogel hire with Jason Kidd as a backup in case he starts choking it up?
You know-
Dude, who's going to want to play her? Can we get Kawhi Leonard?
No.
No.
Damn it.
Oh, Kawhi might play the Staples a lot next year.
Yeah, with the
a
Clips.
lot.
If the Raptors go to the finals, he might stay there.
Right.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Well, that's very. Who do you like in that series?
Not
That's a tough
sure.
one.
I
Dude,
still get
I've-
the sense the Warriors are going to win it, though.
Oh,
No, I'm just saying.
course.
I'm
Well,
just
of course you do. Yeah.
I'm saying coming out of the East, that's gonna be a good one.
that'd be great, dude.
it is.
Giannis versus Kawhi.
Dude, Kawhi's been so hot, dude.
He is.
Kind of like the Bucks. Shading the Bucks. I like
Who's
the
got
free-
who's
Great
got
team
home court?
basketball.
Who's got home
The
court?
Bucks.
Yeah.
Ooh,
They got
that-
home court in the finals,
that-
even if they get there.
Ooh, that might make a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Then. That might
Mario,
make a
quick
difference.
question: the Doyers, is it World Series or bust? They've been knocking on the door. It's time
It's
to
not
bust
like
it
it's
down.
not like the NBA Finals, dude. You know how hard it is to get into. Franchises have gone decades and decades without ever going to the World Series. Now they've gone back to back, and we won the division 6 times in
Went
a row.
to a Game 7 2 years ago,
Game 7. You can't get closer than that.
and then they ran into a buzzsaw on the Red Sox.
I was
last
at the
year.
game yesterday, and Ryu was pitching a no-hitter until my friend jinxed him. He pitched a one-hitter, which is awesome. And then Corey Singer hit a grand slam. I mean, we're just firing
machine.
all cylinders right now. It's a good
Yeah.
team, too, Washington. So, it's early, but hopefully we'll keep it up. And this may, fingers crossed, be the year.
Mario, I'm about the 15th Korean you've spoken to today. You had some in-studio guests for your other show. What group was that? Was that KWA? Who were those guys?
KWA. Code is
Who are those guys?
NCT 127.
Yeah, it's a giant K-pop band, I guess.
Yeah, dude. K-pop bands are huge. You know what I like about them, though? They're very humble, real nice kids, right? They
Right.
appreciate all their. But it's kind of cool to see all these American kids like embrace these K-pop
Really?
kids. Dude, they're like a couple of them sold out the Rose Bowl,
Now,
right?
are there? Now, look, I know little to nothing about K-pop, believe it or not.
You should start speaking Korean, dude. It'd help your game. I'm telling you.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
안녕하세요.
There's a few hundred people outside waiting for those kids right
Yeah,
now.
some of those kids I may have been related to at least 2 of them. They may have been my third cousin.
You should
now,
say they are your third cousin.
Now
You probably get some.
Yeah, now they are popular. They're
What? They're crazy popular. It's crazy.
Now,
They
are their songs in Korean or English?
No, they're in Korean.
What?
And that's what's weird. It's sort of like, remember when Menudo
Right.
was back in the day? But the thing about Menudo is like Latin kids, right? And there's a big Latin population here.
But they all graduated 15, don't
well,
they?
Well, they kicked them out. It was they graduate. But like, good-looking little kids. You can see how girls can like them. These boys are very effeminate. That's fair to say. They wear makeup. They
Right.
wear makeup.
Yeah.
They look like they're girls.
Yeah.
But the little girls like them, so it's weird.
Now, are
It's
these
really weird.
kids from Korea or are they from the U.S.?
Both?
Wow.
Both. They're either like first generation or from Korea. Yeah, it's real, but and it's a fascinating phenomenon.
It is a phenomenon,
It is.
though.
It is a phenomenon.
All right, well, next week we've got a lot to talk about, and we have some special in-studio guests planned for you in the upcoming weeks. Once again, Mario, I will see you next week, and you'll be in Chicago. What are you doing in the Windy City this weekend?
I'm going to New York, and then from New York to Chicago. Just some other work stuff. You know how we do.
Yeah, but Mario, you will be having your apps punched in
That's right.
and your
Thank
DVR
God, my
with
phone-
Showtime.
That's right. Exactly.
All right, so everyone, we'll talk to you next week. This has been the 3 Knockdown Rule with Steve Kim and Mario Lopez and Justin Buffalo Nichols. Till next week, goodbye, everybody.
Go Dubs.